Hello and welcome back, you lucky viewers, to another week of identifying horses in blind bags. This week I got a couple more of the Spirit Riding Free Series 2 horses. So first step, turn them around, see what we're looking for. Second step, carefully so you don't break them, identify where the legs are. So far all of mine I think have been pretty much leg down. This guy is leg down, so I've got a bunch of legs. Follow them up, got a body. Oh, interesting. Okay, so follow it out. I believe that I have a head over here because it kind of curves like this. I can feel that with my thumb and my forefinger. And then out here, the tail curves. It curves around. Definitely not out. Feels to me, using my two fingers, feels to me like it's a curve. So I could have this guy because that tail is curved. I could have this guy, that tail is curved. It's definitely not a stub, and it's definitely not, it curves around his butt this way. So it's not that kind of a curve where it's down. So it's one of these two guys. Interesting. So the head is fairly straight. So last week, all of our horses were oriented according to their pictures. If that was true, it would be this horse. However, his head has an ever so slight curve towards the back. And that tail, I think, touches his butt here. So here on this horse, the tail curves around, but it comes down to his hock. And if you know this mold, it actually doesn't touch. The tail is free. This one, that tail curves around and it actually touches his butt. So far, and his head is curved to the right if he was oriented the way the horse in this bag was, which is true of this horse, which kind of curved off there to his right hand. So I'm leaning towards him, but the key differences between these two guys are going to be that front leg. See how his leg is straight up, it's curved, it almost touches his nose and then comes down. This one comes down. So since I believe this is his head, I'm going to follow his legs, and both of his legs, so his head's up here, both of his legs end up down here. And that front right leg, which would be this one, is in a curve. So he would be oriented this way instead of this way, according to the picture, but that tail's pretty telltale, and that front leg as well. I'm going to say this is this little warm bloody guy. And let's see. Yep, that is indeed him, and he is oriented. So as opposed to last week, he is oriented the opposite way of his picture. But you can see that tail curves around, touches his butt. His head is curved ever so slightly to the right. And then that front right leg is in a curve, as opposed to this one that comes up to his nose and then straight down. So though that one, the tail is a pretty good hallmark giveaway. And let's see what this guy is. So start orienting at the back, find some legs. They're kind of all over the place, but they're right about here. Following up to the body, this guy's interesting. So his body's up here, and this horse is, it feels like he's curved around this way. This head is this a head? I don't know what this is. So there's something here, a head or a tail, and they're both like really hardcore curved to the left. So it's none of our straight on horses. Could be this one. This guy's kind of curved to our left, and it could be this one. I'm not really familiar with this particular stablemate mold because I don't even know if I have him yet. And you can't really tell from the picture how curved he is, but this guy, I mean, this is his head, or tail, and this is the other. It's quite dramatic. I think it's going to be this guy, just based on nobody else is that oriented off of the straight axis to be curved like that. But let's see. So let me see what I can figure out. I think this is going to be his head. Oh, interesting. Okay, I think this is his head, and he's pretty much facing us. It's a lot more dramatic than this picture. This picture is obviously two-dimensional, but he's almost facing us. But when I feel for his leg, that back leg is definitely cocked like this. So let's find out what this is back here. So this is probably then a tail, and the tail is swept around. And the other thing I notice about this tail is it ends in a little bit of a fork. And if you notice, we'll see when we open this package, because I'm pretty sure it's this guy. If you look at the back picture there, his tail looks like it has two kind of strands. It kind of forks off to one side, and then it continues sweeping around. This one is fairly distinctive, and I'm going to go with it being this white horse up here in the back. And there, that is indeed him. So you can see he looks and he smells like a new Breyer. He is definitely more dramatically three-dimensional than he looks in the picture. The picture almost looks like he's straight on, but when you look at him, that head is curved, that tail is curved, and see how that tail kind of forks at the back? This guy kind of jumps out at you in the package, so I think he's going to be a fairly easy find because of how curved that head and that tail are, and then that front leg too, and with that little piece of tail back there. He's pretty distinctive. And our last package, start at the bottom, find the legs, follow them up, find a body. So these legs, you could see, once you've felt a few of these packages, these legs are a little closer together. I mean, you've seen me sometimes out here with the fingers way out here. His legs are pretty close together. Follow him up to the body, and there's a head coming up here, and there ain't nothing coming off of here. Wow, he definitely, I'm gonna say this is gonna be his head, and this is gonna be his tail. And that tail is his leg is here and his tail is here. This leg and this tail are almost touching. So he is fairly narrow based. He's pretty narrow this way with a head. He's definitely not my spraddled outie guys. The only model sort of, he feels most like this one, but that tail is also pretty close to his back leg. So the identifier mark for this horse is that tail ends in a bang. He's definitely got a straight off cut to the bottom of his tail, as opposed to some of these other ones that either come to a point, taper off, do that little forky thing. And so when I feel from his butt down his tail, and I feel the bottom of that tail is flat. That'd be flat. And all of his legs are fairly close together. He is another one that is fairly distinctive, because nobody else kind of has that combination of legs close together. Actually, none of them really are standing except this guy. So he would be oriented the way he is in the picture, because he has that head that comes up. Just to make sure, let's feel his mane is definitely attached. He doesn't have a springing up mane or anything. All of his legs are fairly close together in the back. My fingers are pretty close together. I'm going to say it's this guy, and I'm going to say the biggest distinctive jump out at you is that tail there. Down. And there he is. So he's a pretty distinctive guy. Those legs are very close together. Following him up, you can feel the head comes up and off, and then that tail comes down. You can see it's actually is attached to his back leg here. So he's a pretty obvious one. So there you have it, 3 more of the Spirit Blind Bags. And hopefully you'll be able to use some of these tips and techniques to find the horses that you're looking for. Have a good week. Thank you.